Sorry about that, I forgot to turn off my starting soon and my audio, so you haven't heard anything. I was asking how the audio was going. Ah, well, good I noticed that now and not like half an hour from now. How are you, Mask of the Red Death? And hi, Andromeda Echo. Y'all hearing me okay now that I actually have the audio turned on at all? Okay. So we are in Watford. Music isn't too loud or anything like that. Little brief. Hey, Phoenix Rising! How are ya? Rickman's Worth. Oh wow, beautiful. That may be the very first time I got the audio right the first time. Yeah, that's because I have a new computer because my other one died, and I couldn't remember what the fucking password for it was. And so the path of least resistance was to just sort of leave it out until I remembered to check what the password was when I wasn't in the middle of a stream. Because trying to remember one's password does not make the most riveting viewing in my experience. Okay, there's Rickman's Worth. Roslyn, Halsey. Ah, there we go, Mildred. And 337, not 4,999 points. Good start to get this off on. Okay, we have a cemetery. Okay, we have a sign. Visiteur de ce cimetière. Okay, well, it's a French-speaking place. Gonna guess France or Belgium based on what we've got so far. It does not look like Quebec. Definitely doesn't look like any of the other French-speaking places I can think of. Okay. So that is the... Okay, come on. Okay, residential area. That's where somebody's taking their data protection seriously. Okay. Looks like a lumberyard. Is this really as far as we can go? Okay. Okay. Oh, this does not give me a whole hell of a lot to go on, so I am literally just going to guess that it's someplace in France. Only 375 miles off. Given what I had to work with, I'd say that isn't bad. Okay, I immediately think North America looking at this. It's just the roads. Oh, wait a second. Let me just see that yield sign. Oh. Google has decided to preserve the privacy of that yield sign. Okay, these bins also telling me US, I think. They don't look like Canadian bins. Come on. Oh, Christ, they're blocking everything out. Mallory Jones. Okay. Sam Hart. Probably because the algorithm thinks they might be personal information. They do this. They do this occasionally. It's annoying. Okay, yeah, we are in the US. That says speed limit, not maximum. We got a distinctive street name. Okay, this area protected by wannabe cops. That isn't actually a sign. Okay. Let's see. 478. Never heard of 478 area code. Georgia, Macon County. The leading recipient of federal subsidies in the United States, as it happens. Because it is home to some major arms contractors. Lockheed Martin, if I seem to remember, and I think maybe another one of the aerospace companies. Okay, so just above Atlanta, Macon. Oh, how are you liking Duolingo? Okay, Georgia, Macon County. Okay, I need more than that. You ever want help with Spanish? Just let me know, I'm happy to help out. Slow residential area. Not one of your fast residential areas. Con Realty. That's great branding right there. That manipulative owl. Oh god, oh that is a bit fucked up. I just find I've never actually used it, but I've like seen people's screenshots of it, and at least in some languages, it's a bit hit or miss. Magnolia Crossing Apartments. Hey, Guardiaguara, ¿cómo estáis? Okay. This really was Spanish. They ought to do one for like each country. There's so many differences, and universal Spanish is just something that exists in movie subtitles and dubbing and basically nothing else. Ah, bastante bien con un poco de baile de cabeza nomás, pero bastante bien. Trying to find out where the hell in Macon County, Georgia I am now. Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay. Coliseum Northside Hospital. Yeah, I mean, it has so apart from everything else, it's like they just completely toned down all, like, the swearing, so you have, like, the Spanish dub of Pulp Fiction is just the blandest thing ever. You would... I mean, like, the roughest word you hear anyone use is, like, "que rayos." I have literally never in my life heard anyone say "que rayos." 49 wells. Come on. Okay. Oh, this is where you have to learn the subjunctive. Espero que te pudras. Because when you express a hope or a desire, then you have to use the subjunctive, which you probably haven't got to yet. Like if I say, I want you to do something, it's not quiero que haces, it's quiero que hagas. Or, well, in some parts of the word, quiero que hagáis. Cherokee Culvert. Come on. Okay. The prick. I mean, brick. I guess that's the fucking monument to Newt Gingrich. This was his electorate. Yeah. Understood exactly what you meant. Okay. I tire of Macon County, Georgia, home of Newt Gingrich. "4 miles away." Okay, not bad. 49.76. And here's a fun fact. In Chile, they don't say "I love you." They say "Gabriel Boric es un perkin culiao," which means I see inside your soul that I like what I see. And I think that's beautiful. Okay. Middle of nowhere, but it looks like North American middle of nowhere. Funny, Perkins in the US, or at least in the Midwest, I don't know if it's elsewhere, is a chain of shitty restaurants, and in Chile, it's like a bootlicker. Perkin. God, I mean, once again, I'm seeing, like, from people who are otherwise well-informed, people talking about, people who don't speak Spanish and aren't from Chile and don't know anything really about Chile, talking about Boric like he's Allende. And it's like, no. He's Joe Biden with, like, a few more years left of his life expectancy. Yeah. The one thing Perkins has going for it is it's open 24 hours. So if you're drunk and you don't live in the city center where you can get chips or something like that, then you can get some shitty greasy food and I mean it really is shitty, but if you're off your face enough, you can kind of tolerate it. Okay, we are in a very agricultural area with no fucking signs. Very flat. 60 kmh. Okay, we are not in the US. Okay. Green. Round sign. This could be South Africa. This could be some parts of Australia. Let's see what this says. Agua fría. Someplace Spanish speaking. Yeah, I mean, but in Chile, Perkin, spelt the same way as Perkin, means, like a bootlicker. Ah, esta weá. Maria Bonita. Oh, not Spanish, Português bem com cerveja, cigarros, lanches, porções e muito mais. Okay, we are in someplace Portuguese speaking. I'm guessing we are not in Angola or Mozambique. Just in terms of surface area, I'm gonna say Brazil. But this could also be could also be Portugal. I haven't seen anything that rules it out. I haven't gone to Perkins since really a date I went on in like 2003, and I was not drunk enough to like the food. Cocoa? What is cocoa? I'm not familiar with this cocoa, unless it's the Nazi sympathizing fragrance company. Okay. Come on, sign someplace. Although, I mean, it's just... Ah, okay. Oh, and it's nice and blurry too now. Okay, this is taking forever. Okay. Green part of Brazil. Okay, and 3528? Ah, not bad. Oh, the land of the dead, so Macon County, Georgia, then, where we just were. Oh, hold on. Okay, we are not in the US or Canada. Orang Pekera. Okay, we are either in Malaysia or Indonesia. 소지 않는다 우린 두려움 모른다. Puchong Damansara Jalan Majlis. Okay, I'm gonna say Indonesia. Come on, give me something I can work with here. Oh, now there's a sign that looks like it's gonna tell me more. Jalan Bahagia. Puchong. Complex Kampung Haji, Masjid Al-Hidayah. Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is Indonesia, because I don't see any Chinese anywhere, and no any English either, and Malaysia is multilingual officially. See them where? What, in the land of the dead? Lapang, Sulawesi. Okay. Only 800 and... Oh, it was... Oh, no, it actually was Malaysia. Okay. Still only 887 miles away. Okay. See. Pause that. And I think we're going to pay a visit to our old mate Xanderhole. My best score at GeoGuessr would be damn near 25,000. I don't know exactly, but I mean, I've had times on GeoGuessr where I actually was within a couple of miles of everything. I mean, once in a while, they actually send me to places I have been, intersections I actually recognize without even having to check the street names, and that always helps. Okay, let's make sure that crop looks right. Yeah, crop's on point. Let me know about the audio. Xanderhole. Vosh's prepubescent Nazi pal.
I guess I should give like a little bit.
Now, I don't know. I imagine at least a few of you have seen what has gone on with Fosh and Non-Compete in the past week, where Fosh decided to just outright endorse Nazi propaganda, Nazi anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and doubled down on it, and then lied and tried to claim that Non-Compete did so. And so now we have to remember, I think everybody in here was there when we watched Xanderhole explaining why it is wrong. It is just wrong as a matter of principle to require any accountability of ex-Nazis before allowing them into left spaces or holding them into any kind of standard or anything like that. And there's no self-interest there. I mean, that's just totally legit. He has absolutely no reason that he might benefit from the idea of not holding people who claim to be no longer Nazis to a standard. But if you were to do that, a streamer who happens to be a close associate of yours openly endorsing Nazi propaganda would be a really good way of testing that out. Let's see how Xander Hole does on this extremely bargain basement fucking test of not being a Nazi anymore.
Bit of background on my biases going into this.
Hear it okay?
I have not seen it yet. Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't even seen any. I saw one clip of it. Okay, and that's it. It was like a meme clip. Clearly, it wasn't like a substantial, actual, like crazy clip from the debate or anything.
Okay, I just turned it up. Let me know.
Basically, completely blind. However, I'll give a little background. American Johnson, aka Non-Compete here, was actually one of the very first left-wing YouTubers to not only shout me out, but also to sort of like start talking to me and kind of like not befriend me, but sort of like send.
Okay, I mean, personally, that's not something that if I were EJ, I probably wouldn't want that to get out too much, but it's okay.
My direction. Very early on in my left-wing YouTube career back in 2019. And unfortunately, as time passed, he started to get way more tanky, and obviously we've seen the total degradation of the online left that's happened from 2019 to 2022 to present day and onward, no doubt. If, in my opinion, American Johnson has had a bit of a fall from grace.
I see. When I want to know who's had a fall from grace, the person I go to is an ex-Nazi who doesn't want to be held to any kind of standard and stands all sorts of racist shit.
As for Vosh, I mean, I'm friends with him. I think he's pretty cool. Has he missed on some things? Absolutely. He's had plenty of takes.
Like the white nationalist shit, but you do that too, Xander Hole, so I guess that's okay.
I think are disagreeable, I'm sure. But for the most part, I think he's a pretty good dude. I think he's pretty well reasoned, and generally, if I find out that Vosh is in a disagreement with somebody on like on the internet, usually I'm probably gonna end up agreeing with Vosh.
Like how just last week he just outright lied about Professor Flowers' Lua saying that she had advocated the extermination of Jews just to throw people off balance who were ready to refute him lying about the things everyone was expecting to lie about.
Because generally it seems like he comes to the correct conclusions on things. Like, usually I'll like hear a story, I'll hear about something going on, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, here's my opinion. And then I'll hear like his opinion on it, and it'll be pretty similar. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, he's a smart guy. His brain's
yes, because you both suck.
In the right place, it seems. So those are my thoughts going in. Those are my biases. Those are my preconceived notions going into this debate. That's the lore. That's the backstory. So let's hop right into it. I haven't seen shit from this, and it's an hour and 47 minutes long. This is going to be a long debate review, so buckle up, buckaroos.
Hypotheticals aren't... Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical?
And we're not even speeding it up.
Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism, and you're struggling on this.
Well, somebody needs to lecture him on dialectical materialism.
Discussion is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read Capital? It's full of hypotheticals.
That has nothing to do with reality, and you think that that gets you closer to the truth. That is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism.
See, and look, this is what he does. This is his whole fucking shtick, is that he deliberately baits the shit out of people with these obvious straw men, and is maddeningly calm as he does it, even though he knows that he is actually driving people's blood pressure off. I mean, there's just so many just abuser tactics that I know from my own personal experience with them that he engages on.
My basis for finding truth.
I see the issue. You think idealism is when you think, which is why you don't.
Yeah, that's bullshit. These hypotheticals, that is very true, Phoenix Rising. I mean, and it's not what he does a lot of the time is he takes the hypotheticals that are just complete nonsense, because they are easier for him to make his point than actually dealing with the facts. Like, I mean, that's what he tried to do with the white genocide bullshit with Professor Flowers. He, instead of actually dealing with what decolonization has actually looked like, and what people are actually demanding in terms of decolonization in South Africa, he comes up with this complete nonsense about the idea of what if they decide to expel the white South Africans or whatever. And it's like, nobody's even talking about that. Nobody's fucking proposing that. The only people claiming that that's even a thing are fucking white nationalists. But, you know, if he deals with facts, then he just looks like an asshole. Whereas if he constructs hypotheticals just the right way, he can trip people up, and they might say the wrong thing, and then they'll look like an asshole. Although, actually, no. I mean, if anyone paying serious attention who knows anything about the subject, he's the one who looks like an asshole. And why the fuck does he have the character for meat on his chest?
I don't think it's spoiled yet. It's like a treat. Like, does a trailer spoil?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
If Fluid said that South Africans can't eject white people, they need to send his fans after her for telling indigenous people what to... Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, she was talking about self-determination. And the minute she says, oh, they can't do that, and as she pointed out in her response video, the immediate question is, who are you to tell them that? Who's to tell them what to do on the subject? And then self-determination's gone right out the fucking window. Yeah, I mean, all he wants to do is browbeat people with his rhetorical flourishes, which actually aren't that impressive.
I want to set this up by saying there is overlap between our audiences, and some of the people
yeah, it was absolutely
who watch your
bullshit.
stream and watch mine.
Here's a Spanish phrase for you to learn, Phoenix Rising. This is a term that applies to both Xander Hole and Fosh. Chuche su madre. Vos es un chuche su madre.
Have told me that I should reach out to you and talk to you, and they said you would be reasonable. I don't watch a ton of your content.
Yeah, that's advisable.
You know, so
Okay, I want to say this, all right? I
All right.
think that EJ's content back when he was doing the puppet videos was fucking top tier, okay? If EJ had stuck to, like, the puppet video format, I don't think... not only would his channel be significantly larger than it is now...
See, if I were getting this sort of feedback from him, it would make me question that content immediately. Because if he's comfortable with it, then something is wrong.
Not only that, but I also think that generally people would have a much more positive opinion of him than they...
You know, I'm taking
What
my word
people?
for it and I want to talk to you in good faith, and I know that there has been what some might consider drama or beef going on between you, me, and Luna, and some other people developing for some time. So I
Bush
just want to address
Limbaugh,
that
as you
and
called
give
him,
you the opportunity
Phoenix
to
Rising. I like that.
respond onto some questions and things like that. So does that all sound like what we kind of agreed to in the emails? Does that
Yeah,
sound
my
good to you?
pleasure. No, this is a bit of a novelty for me. Normally, when people disagree with me, they sort of just take shots on Twitter. I actually have a lot of respect for people who like hashing it out.
Oh yes, because they play into his hands. Because this, on his platform, where he can just browbeat people at will, he has an advantage. So obviously, he much prefers that.
You know, whatever you know, my reputation might precede. I do actually enjoy just calmly talking about disagreements. You know.
Yeah. See, yeah, that's not... Nobody, I think, would actually... I don't think his reputation contradicts that. That is exactly his whole shtick. He likes to be... He's just maddeningly calm. He's one of these assholes who will say some horrible shit, act like they can't understand why you're getting mad, and then they will just sort of sit there very calmly and say, yes, we need to talk this out rationally. Why are you yelling like this? I mean, we're never going to get anywhere if you yell like this. and they fucking drive you up the wall. Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no benefit to going on with these debate bros because they are not having it. It's not a discussion in good faith. And to a great extent, there's no reason to have these discussions because he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything about the stuff he's talking about. He's totally ignorant, which is why he prefers hypotheticals, because hypotheticals do not require him to actually know stuff.
You know, but yeah, hit me up. You sent me an email the other day, and, you know, some people in chat were complaining, like, you put out a video shit-talking me. But in the email, to your credit...
I would say that actually he was... Well, he's about to shit-talk himself.
Hey, I'm going to put this video out, so don't interpret this as some kind of, like, sneaky, you know... So yeah, I don't think they have anything to complain about.
Yeah, and then also, you know, people have differences about what's appropriate and what's not. One of the reasons I put the video out before the conversation was because I wanted to kind of formulate my thoughts and have some sort of basis to speak on. You know, so I do want to try to get your. Yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things I said. I doubt you've had time to watch it because it was a very long video, and you know, it's only been like maybe 11 hours since I uploaded it. So
no, I'm afraid I have not. I saw some people in my community.
Yeah, this is not going to stop him having opinions on it. I mean, he has opinions on all sorts of things he's never seen or heard about.
It, some liked it, some didn't. You know, I'm known for having a disagreeable community, so I guess I'll see what I see.
Oh yes, it's almost like assholes attract assholes.
Wait a minute.
Like, I don't have this problem. I mean, admittedly, I don't exactly have a huge community. My community could kind of fill a passenger lift and with room left over for luggage at the moment. But I don't attract complete assholes. Probably because I don't like assholes, and I make that very clear. Whereas Vosh, he just has big asshole energy.
Okay, so all right, so yeah, I think we're all on the same page about that stuff. So the meta discussion, I guess, is out of the way. We can talk about the real issues.
Yeah, hit me out.
Okay, so there's three things. I told you in the email, like 3 things I really wanted to kind of talk about, and the first thing is about, and I don't expect this to be a very long discussion. The first part, I wanted to just talk about the responsibility that we have as creators that have a large platform, right? So like, you and I both have pretty large platforms. I've got like over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have, I don't know, what are you up to now? You're pretty big.
It's like 360, 370, somewhere there, I think.
Yeah, although Vosh is already not going to like this. The idea that he has any kind of responsibility.
Well, you have a ton of people watch your stream. I mean, you have very impressive numbers in terms of watching your live stream. So I think it's safe to say that we both have pretty substantial platforms. I guess the first question I would ask is just, in general, do you agree with me that when somebody has a large platform, it comes with a certain responsibility?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is good that way.
On that. And do you also agree that part of that responsibility is trying to develop an understanding of your audience? And because, you know, your audience is not a monolith, my audience is not a monolith. There are different kind of like sort of divisions within every audience, right? So you kind of have to get to know your audience, understand how
many. I want to know how many of his audience are hate watching, and just like I am, though.
The different sections of your audience are likely to react, and just kind of be familiar with your audience, right? And so, I mean, do you agree with that? I guess I'll ask first.
I don't know if it's a moral obligation, but it's definitely a good idea.
Okay, yeah. Well, here's why I think that, I don't know about the word moral, but here's why I think it's
when does Luna
important
Oi join?
For people, especially doing political activity, you know, like discussing political topics and that sort of thing. I think it's important because obviously we influence our audiences, right? And if you were doing like unboxing streams or just like let's play videos or whatever, you know, I think that the degree of responsibility can vary. But when you're talking about political things, you're influencing people politically, and you also have to know that there will be like mutual impact. So like you might say things and then they'll go out and do things, and vice versa,
okay.
right? So
yeah, and he lives for that.
I guess that's the basis of my next question, which is, you must realize that because you debate people on the far right quite a bit, and because of the nature of what you do with your debate streams, that sort of thing, that there are a large number of right-wing people who watch your show.
I mean, God, debate. We should stop calling this debating. It's platforming. What he does is he platforms people on the far right, and he is much, much nicer to them than he is to the leftists that make the mistake of engaging with him.
I don't know if there are a large number of right-wing people who watch my show. There probably is a good number of politically undifferentiated people, but at least in the communities that I've seen,
maybe she's just in
my YouTube comments, my Discord,
stream or whatever.
I think the closest right bent I have is an annoying.
Oh, she shows up in the Cope stream afterwards. Okay.
Apart from that, I don't think I have many hard right followers.
What, despite the fact that you like to talk about white genocide and reverse racism, I mean, the fact, and what gets me is I looked at when he was saying that shit, the times that we've looked at this on stream, I've been looking at the chat. Because I wanted to see whether he got any pushback, and the fact that he did not get any pushback that I could see when he was saying that racist shit tells me he has cultivated an audience that is actually pretty right-wing. Or at the very least, the ones who are on the left, who are anti-racist, do not feel comfortable engaging in chat because they're going to get shat all over.
Okay,
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to use any like loaded terms like audience or followers or community. I just think that it stands to reason that if you're regularly having discussions with people on the far right, there will be some overlap between your audiences. Some of them are going to come over and like hate watch you. You know, like I even get hate watchers on my channel, so I know there's an element of that.
Yeah, hate watchers.
But yeah, I guess my point is
you literally can't control hate watchers. What do you?
Well, you can. It's called you block them. I mean, if they start saying shit that makes it clear what it is, that they're hate watching, you can fucking block them. When Caleb Muppet came on here several months ago and tried to get me to debate him, just without any preparation, just out of the blue, I just fucking blocked him because I have absolutely nothing to say to him. He's full of shit. He has all sorts of reactionary ties. Way too comfortable in the company of fascists. We've got nothing to say to each other. All I care about is exposing him and taking the piss out of him. And that is exactly how I feel about Xander Hole and Fosh. Non-compete and Luna I actually quite like. I don't agree with... There are things that I really don't agree with them on, and particularly with Luna. There are things I disagree with her on. But she just strikes me overall as a nice person and somebody who actually is willing to engage in a reasonably decent way with people who disagree. And it's been very interesting, her stuff, like, basically that's the only reason I had any idea of how Vietnam was actually handling COVID early on and the results they were getting. The only reason I knew to pay attention to that. I mean, so I have my disagreements with the two of them, but in general, I actually quite like their work, which is much more than I can say from either of these two pricks.
Like, if you're a lefty streamer or political content creator, especially if you're a streamer, you have literally I have 115 viewers right now. I'd be willing to bet maybe at least 8 of those viewers are probably Nazis that are watching that just hate me. And
well, why would they hate you though? I mean, and I'm really kind of surprised that it's only 8. I would have said something like 140, and the other ones got lost.
They're just sitting here, like, with OBS open, screen recording my stream, just in case something that's, like, embarrassing happens, that they can, like, clip in the moment to, like, upload it online or whatever to shit talk me. Yeah. And that's always going to be something that happens. Like, you're always going to have, like, people that hate you watching your content just because they're anti-fans. I like to think...
Anti-fans. I've never heard that term before. But okay, yes, I'm an anti-fan of Xander Hole and Vosh.
That, like, anti-fans are technically, like, fans, because, I mean, what else are you going to call somebody who non-stop watches your content, even if they hate you? Anti-fans, right? Like, you're always going to have people like that in your audience, but they don't like you. Like, if there are any far-right people that watch Vosh, even out of spite, then they're probably thinking the whole time, ugh, I hate this fucking...
Yeah, until he starts talking about white genocide, and it's like, oh wow, this guy's actually pretty based, and he manages to somehow weasel his way into left online spaces, despite this. They probably are actually quite... It's like they're probably pleasantly surprised. And he's always very nice and very polite to the actual fucking Nazis. I mean... It's interesting when somebody is like outright does not even try to hide that they're a Nazi. He's actually really kind of polite to them. He was that On the other hand, Caleb Muppet, who tries to hide being reactionary and occasionally sounds like a piss-weak social democrat, depending on like what side of the bed he woke up on, he actually had to go at him pretty hard, and actually ended up making him look good, because he came into it with absolutely no idea what the fuck. I don't think Nazis want to embarrass him is the thing. I don't see why they would. He's giving them... If people on the left actually listen to this clown and actually buy this idea that is somehow fundamentally morally wrong to require people who used to be fascists to earn your trust before allowing them into movement spaces, then, I mean, they would have to see that that's extremely useful.
Liberal Jew pedophile, Like, I doubt whatever EJ is getting at here is actually happening, because I feel like this is leading up to some, like, weird criticism of the idea of engaging with the right.
If you know...
What, you mean platforming fascists? I don't see that kind of criticism is exactly weird. I mean, it only benefits fucking fascists, and... Yeah, exactly.
Know that there are right-wingers... Even if it's in law of large numbers, you have thousands of people to watch your stream. So even if it's like a small percentage of your audience, that's still going to mean there's like maybe hundreds of people,
chat to the other side of the
fascists
screen.
or racists watching. That's possible. I don't want to debate about the numbers or whatever, but I guess okay. So I'm going to move on to the next point of my platform here, and then I'll let you just totally respond to my point, because I'm almost done making my point. Mm-hmm. So if you have if it's true that there are any right wingers watching you, that's one thing. And then another way to know, I guess, a metric of whether you have right wingers or not is how people engage after you've done something, right? So like if I make...
Yeah, for example, I mean, when he says some racist shit, which he's been saying a lot of lately, I mean, Fosh has just been going at it with hitting the racism really hard. I mean, either they push back, either your fans say, holy shit, what the fuck did you just say, dude? That was some Nazi shit you just said, that's fucked up. Or you've got a bunch of people who are at the very least comfortable with far-right talking points in your chat.
Make a video, I'm going to try to gauge the outcomes. I'm going to try to watch what people are saying on social media about it. I'm going to go to Reddit and check that out. I'm going to check the comments on my channel or whatever. And so what I've noticed, and a lot of people have noticed, is a pattern where disturbing attacks like that. Now, I've seen it happen with Luna because
I was wondering what that thing was. I mean, I've never actually heard anything related. I mean, that's like the first time I heard that. That's for mocking autistic people, is it?
I'm married to her. We spend all our time together. I help her administrate her comments and that sort of thing. And I also know other people who have shown me similar results. You know, so I guess my first question is: are you aware of that, or would you deny that that's?
Okay. I'm gonna say this completely biased as a friend of Vosh's. I don't think I've seen him like get into drama with someone or like throw shade at somebody and it resulted in like Vosh's audience then like shit talking that person on Twitter.
Really? You didn't see that? I mean, I seem to remember that happening quite a few times, actually.
Like, usually it's never him throwing the first stone, and it's
well, except the time that he accused Professor Flowers of being a genocide apologist, and you then stand him doing that. You doubled down on that, Xanderhole. So that you're aware of one time that he did that, and you thought it was a good thing.
Almost never a disproportionate response. Like, I can't think of a time...
What would be a proportionate response to Fosh smearing a leftist, especially a leftist of color? He seems to have a particular problem with people of color. What would be the proportionate response? When does the amount of harassment that directs at those people become excessive, Xanderhole?
Where somebody, like, threw a little bit of shade at Vosh, and he just, like, came back with the fucking hammer. And, like, just sent his audience to harass someone just because they said something negative. Like, I can think, like, it just doesn't Yeah. This non-compete person is fucking insane. People would have to have brainworms to not side with Vosh in this drama. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this yet. Also, welcome, Nicholas Stewart. Good to have you here.
Yeah, not to side with Vosh. Okay, so that's one confirmed Nazi right there, because what the drama is that Vosh literally endorsed Nazi conspiracy propaganda about Jews, and now Bad Empanada did a good job of debunking that. Debunking that in part, pointing out that the only place where there was a lot of Jewish representation in banking in Weimar Germany was what was called private banking, which is not the same. That doesn't mean privately owned banks. These are private wealth management services. They're tiny. They do not have a huge market share. It's just places where rich people park their money. Not in the major banking that actually really affects the economy to a significant degree. So that's part of why that's bullshit. But the other part is, there is this completely false impression, and unfortunately, a lot of Holocaust education, Holocaust literature, Holocaust films do not do a whole lot to counter this. It gives the people the impression that Jews in Germany on the eve, and in Europe generally on the eve of the Nazi takeover, were pretty well off in general. And that's complete bullshit. Because not only did most Jews not own a bank, most of them were too broke to have a fucking bank account. Just a regular bank account. The Jewish population in Germany and Europe as a whole, I mean, in Germany they were actually a little bit better off than Jews in other parts of Europe, were amongst the poorest, were one of the poorest ethnic groups in Europe at the time. They were flat broke. They did not recover from the Depression, and then Hitler takes over, and then there was no way they were going to recover from it. But when you look at, like, Holocaust literature and stuff, so much of it deals with the plight of the Valtimes, who owned a major department store, or the Tietzes, also department store owners, or the Schragenheims, or, of Jews with money, and how they were proletarianized, essentially, by the early Nazi anti-Semitic measures of the 1930s, rather than actually looking at what it was like for the majority of broke Jews. And that is part of what makes it possible for people to still say this kind of bullshit. Why is it difficult for them to have just a little empathy towards others? I think they just don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit. They're just assholes.
Here. I mean, EJ has had a massive, downhill fall. So
for example,
regardless of what you think of Vosh, I think it's just objectively, he's in the right in this probably, because EJ has really lost it from what I've heard.
Oh, from what you've heard. For example, I mean, let's have a citation needed here.
Something that happens.
I think I've
And
mostly
seen. I think he has me blocked. Does he have me blocked? I think he might actually have me blocked on Twitter.
Oh, well, that just demonstrates good taste.
I know I have Luna blocked on Twitter because she was like, I got into an argument on Twitter with her, and then she started doing that thing where it's like, you have a natural conclusion to the little tiff you have on Twitter. Like, what's a tiff? You go back and forth a couple times, but then it's pretty clear okay, this interaction's over. But then she kept on layering on responses
So basically you were probably completely full of shit about something, and you probably said something a little bit racist, knowing you, Xanderhole. And so she was not happy with you about that. That must have been terrible for you.
Kept on trying to get my attention again for me to engage. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I just blocked her. But I think he might have me blocked. He's suspended. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll never know then. He's currently suspended, apparently. That's
actually, he just got rid of his Twitter account, is my understanding. He decided I seem to remember him announcing he considered the platform toxic, and he took his account. He deleted his account. Was my understanding.
That's a sheesher McGeesher.
There's a whole narrative about my community harassing people, but in spite of nearly 3 years of trying to track down the people actually doing this, I've yet to be provided a single piece of evidence of it actually happening.
I'm sure.
Usually the initial claim is...
EJ seems, if I remember correctly, several months ago, American Johnson non-compete actually deleted his Twitter account.
Some very severe,
Same, by the way. I have yet to have a single person who's accused me of having, like, a hostile, abusive, bully audience. I've yet to have a single person who's made those accusations towards me hit me up and send me, like, a screenshot with evidence or a name.
Because everybody knows you don't give a fuck.
Hey, if anybody is engaging in actual real harassment, I'll ban them from the community easily. I ban people from the community for much less, okay? And nobody has been able to provide this to me. The people on Twitter that complain about Debate Bro streamers and their communities literally are just hamming it the fuck up. One or two people, like, you'll get like like these people get like a few dozen fans of like Vosh or me or Destiny or, well, not Destiny, but or like Demon Mama or like Shark or insert lefty Debate Bro streamer that...
Exactly. I mean, it would be a total waste of time to go to either of these twits and ask and say, oh, well, look, we've got evidence of a few million of your fucking followers doing all sorts of horrible shit after you incited dogpiles against people for not being racist enough. He wouldn't give a shit. There's no way. They wouldn't do anything about it.
That has a lot of, like, controversy around them. They'll get, like, 12 responses that are just like, what you said was dumb, here's why I disagree, and they'll call that harassment, okay? Like, come on, dude. Like, they never, there's no, it's not like an actual real...
Wait a second, just a couple of weeks ago, you were claiming that Vosh was cancelled because he received a couple of dozen responses saying what you said was racist and here's why. So, and you claimed it was disingenuous of people to say that that isn't cancellation, because criticizing people in a reasoned way on Twitter for being racist is canceling them. But now, when it's your fans doing it to other people who disagree with you, then that's not even harassment?
Real substantial issue in any of our communities, because at least I know that I take a pretty good, like, solid stance against, like, my community engaging in harassment. Shark has controversy. Shark doesn't have as much controversy, but he inevitably will. You can't do live stream debate, like, coverage content like that and not eventually stumble on your words enough or say something that can be misrepresented, okay?
Vosh community, harassing, like, really bad stuff, right? But then I get some screenshots, and it's usually people just being kind of mean, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with people being mean to people.
Yeah, exactly. It's just what you just said. Yeah, exactly. There's absolutely no point in providing with evidence because he doesn't give a shit.
I don't like. I guess it's possible that this happens. It's just not something that I've been provided.
No, Wingo, she took the
evidence
gloves
of.
off.
If it can be provided, I'll ban those people from my community. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think it's I just don't think it's that much of an issue.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, I guess I'm not going to press it too much farther. I will say that, like, this is the kind of thing that it's kind of hard to substantiate, right? Because, like, so for instance, I can just tell you from my personal experience that, since I literally look at Luna's comments every single day on her YouTube channel, I kind of get an idea. Like, she does get racist comments every day, and that that's probably true, just because any person of color, black person on the internet that's putting themselves out there and talking about politics is going to receive that kind of thing. So she does get those.
Yeah, well, yes, including from Vosh.
Those kinds of comments every day, but every time you've done a video where you talked about her, suddenly there's like a big uptick in the number of those kinds of racists and just terrible kinds of disturbing comments. And the only other time I've ever seen that happen, it's only happened twice before, and once was after we had the discussion with Destiny, and once was after the armchair historian and her had a little bit of a back and forth.
Okay. Holy shit. Like,
holy shit, what?
Blogger 2, chill the fuck out. Okay. Actually, just ban... Wait, Blogger... Hold on, wait.
Oh, yeah, we've got... See, this is the non-toxic community that he's got here. He's got somebody called... okay, to his credit, he's... Oh... Look at the fucking chat here. Okay, so you got Pepe the Frog. which, has that been reclaimed? I've never been able to make complete sense out of it. I see it in places where it does not seem to be a fashy context, and I know Matt Fury was trying to wrest it back from the fash and everything, the character, but that always strikes me as a little bit fucking dodgy. But then you have this blogger too says, I want to murder non-compete. So that's like okay, so we finally have an example of what you have to say as a reactionary asshole comment in Xanderhol's chat. Expressing a desire to commit murder. That crosses the line. We finally know where the line is.
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, just ban Blogger 2. Yeah, they're a troll. Never mind. Just ban Blogger 2. Anyway, yeah, so something that EJ clearly doesn't understand is that, like, just because you recently did a debate with, like, a large public figure, and now you're getting a lot of hate comments, doesn't mean it's the fans of that large public figure, okay? Shit tons of Nazis watch Destiny out of...
I'm not... Out of spite? He's a fucking endorser of Kyle Rittenhouse. They're not watching him out of spite.
Spite. Shit tons of Nazis watch Vosh out of spite.
Again, I don't see where the spite would come in.
And shit tons of Nazis watch me out of spite. If those Nazis that watch those figures out of spite become aware of a small content creator that's part of, like, a marginalized community, you better fucking believe that that those hate watchers are gonna go shit talk that person. They aren't fans of the creator, okay?
Yeah, it's sort of like when there was this the smaller content creator who tried to explain the ideology of black nationalism and black separatism, which she doesn't even actually embrace herself. And you, Xanderhole, then you and Fosh both claimed that she advocated genocide. Yeah, I mean, and aside from... the claim huge numbers of Nazis watch Destiny, Vosh, and Xanderhole. As far as that goes, I think that's probably true. But out of spite, I don't see it. There's just so much overlap here in terms of ideology that I just don't see where it would be out of spite.
Okay, clearly they're not. Do you really think Vosh's fan base, or even Destiny's fan base, are the type of people that are going into the comments of Luna Oi's videos commenting racist shit?
Yes! Yes, they are! Because Destiny comments racist shit too.
Is that, like, the demographic, like, the type of content consumer that you think is leaving those types of comments?
Well, yes. I mean, people who watch racist streamers, like you and Destiny and fucking Fosh, are probably the ones leaving racist comments when you decide to attack a creator from a marginalized community. God, I mean, this is just so fucking disingenuous.
I assure you it's not.
And it's never ever happened again. Lots of other...
Well, I mean, if he assures us.
Other people have criticized Luna, but those are the only 3 examples. And so something tells me... It's just here, I guess I'll leave it this way. My instinct is there's something going on there, and if you think that matters, I would encourage you to take it seriously and investigate it more on your own and see if you can find out more, and just keep that in the back of your mind, I guess, as you move forward when you talk about people who are vulnerable. Now, Luna and I are in our 30s, and we have each other, and we're stable, but, and the reason I'm not trying to preach at you, but I know that you're aware that there are people out there who are more vulnerable. There are people who are younger. There are people who have mental instability and might be inclined towards self-harm and that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just saying, from one big content creator to the other, it's something that I do, is try to be careful about how I cultivate my audience. I try to identify the strengths and strengthen those, and I try to identify weaknesses and negate those as much as possible over time.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think that's totally sound what he's saying there. I mean, because if you have people who are listening to what you're saying, even if you should try to make sure that what you're saying doesn't suck, and that it does not, then it isn't going to be used by people who suck to do shit that sucks. Like, that's why when... Okay, I stand by 99% of what I've done on Caleb Muppet. There is one exception. He specifically called me a liar for repeating the statement that his father was a banker, which I said in complete good faith. It sounded in the stream with Thought Slime and the Surfs. It sounded like they had looked it up somewhere. And usually they're fairly reliable on this sort of thing. So I just kind of went for it. But when he said that, I decided to look him up. And it turned out it wasn't true, so I blacked out one text reference to that in one video and did a little video saying, yeah, that part isn't true. He sucks, but his father is not even in that industry. Because even though I've got 200 subscribers, which, by the way, thank you. Thank you, everybody who's subscribed. Glad to have you. But I still want to make sure that anyone who's coming away and listening to me isn't going to end up believing some bullshit that I just got wrong. And if I get something wrong, I want to correct it the minute I find out that I did. Whereas these guys, they're just so completely, they just don't give a shit. They get off, I think, on the sort of harassment that their fans direct at people that they target.
So I'm not trying to preach at you, but that's something I wanted to make you aware of that's something that I've seen happening personally with Luna's audience. So
I saw that tweet from Luna where she screenshotted some groypers quote tweeting her and said that they were sort of insinuated that was a product of her mentioning or talking with me.
I wouldn't dismiss that possibility.
I'm a large content creator. There are people who hate watch me. I also have
Yes, there are. Thank you. Thanks for the shout out, Paul.
Hold on, I'm getting some feedback from your end when I talk. Do you know what that might be?
Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
Did it just start? Or
No, it's been happening. It's like a...
Poonhead. Oh, goddamn. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the tier 1 subs. As I watch out of spite, spite for your haters. Based Poonhead. Based Poonhead. Everybody say hi to Poonhead. They're pretty cool.
Sort of static and like a gain pitch, kind of.
Oh, and McGillicuddy, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I didn't even see that.
Talking.
You're based.
Yeah, okay, wait, I think that did. Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah. I saw those screenshots. People are saying my voice is too loud in your stream. I don't know if that...
well, I didn't know about too loud, but kind of annoying. Buenas noches, Nueva Yaguara. Qué bueno verte y... Oye, en mi otro canal hay 2 capítulos más de esa historieta gráfica sobre la experiencia migratoria que me tocó vivir en Chile en 2015. Gracias por venir. And I will be here tomorrow as well, así que espero que nos veamos otra vez muy pronto.
I'll probably just fix both problems simultaneously, I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, obviously, as a product of my size, beefing with me is going to cause a lot of engagement, and there might be negative consequences to that for, marginalized people, because...
Yeah, especially when you lie about them.
I'm broadly known on the right. I don't know if there's a way to directly attribute that to me. I know they're not my audience. I don't think I have a substantial groyper audience in my beck and call. I just don't know if there's anything I can really do about that, because at that point, it's not even...
Well, you could maybe not say things that encourage the presence of Nazis. You could maybe stop talking about white genocide and other things that Nazis like to hear.
Even about my community, it's just about the size of my channel and exposure given to people that I disagree with. And we're working off tenuous connections as well. I mean, it could very well be that even if I was perfectly responsible with all my engagement, merely the act of being signal boosted to the level that one is when they engage with me would then increase the likelihood of that kind of negative attention.
Yeah, which is to say, yeah, you fucking... this is exactly why you shouldn't be platforming Nazis, Vosh, because it does signal boost them.
There's just, it feels like the link here is tenuous enough that I don't have a direct control
Hasta mañana entonces. Ciao.
Direct control.
Let's go.
The only solution would be, I think, to just not ever engage with, positively or negatively, any other figures who are marginalized, which probably wouldn't be good. That doesn't...
well, I mean, honestly, I don't see why anyone is engaging with you from those communities, or in general, on the left. I think it's a bad idea. I think that I don't see what benefit there is to even acknowledging your platform within leftist spaces, because you bring a whole lot of fucking negatives. I mean, I honestly don't get where he gets this reputation for being a leftist in the first place, because every time I've looked at a video, he ends up saying some just outright racist shit, and not like the sort of like, not, and really just like Rush Limbaugh grade racism, fucking Tucker Carlson grade racism, where it's just undiluted.
It seemed like a sustainable solution, I think.
Well, okay, there are a few things there. I guess I'll push back a little bit again. So the first thing would be...
A pillow? I'm sorry, I can't shout you out anymore, okay? Because you're POC and you've got a smaller presence, and I've got a lot of hate watchers that could, like, see me talking to you and then go shit talk you on your channel, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, what, just for the guilt by association of being in Xanderhole's chat?
I can't have you on. I can't shout you out anymore. I'm really sorry. I mean, I was hoping that maybe we could have a little bit more diversity in the breadtube sphere, you know? A few black creators that aren't, you know, a few less white dudes, but...
Well, then maybe stop accusing them of genocide?
EJ says no. I'm sorry, guys.
Welcome to Capital.
Wait, okay, this is just so fucking deep. So the idea is that if you oppose Xanderhole and Vosh directing racist hate mobs at creators of color, then that makes you against diversity?
Every time... There are some things you can do. Every time I talk about somebody who I disagree with who could be receiving that kind of, you know, hate, like, I'm very careful to tell my audience, like, do not harass this person, blah, blah, blah. That will help with your actual audience, your community, the people that you actually, like, enjoy. But then also you just, I don't know, I think you could be more selective about some of the things that you say about certain people, because there have been instances, like
maybe don't lie.
For instance, when you talked about Luna, I don't think that calling her a useless stepchild of Vietnam, I think that might fan the flames of, like, racial...
What does that even
problems. I'm not
mean?
saying that you were intentionally...
Okay.
What the fuck does that even mean? What is a useless stepchild of Vietnam?
Hold on. Now we're essentializing a criticism specifically focused on the, and let's be completely real here, the brainwashing that the Vietnamese government does to their people. Like, I mean, like comparing that to, like, racial, like, some kind of racially motivated...
What brainwashing are you talking about? I mean, this is like the time that Vosh claimed that he didn't know anything about the educational system in the U.S., and that he was unaware that the schools in this country not only make you swear a fucking oath to the state every morning, which is pretty much unique in the world since 1945. The other countries that were big on that lost the war. But also just encourage a ridiculous and just absolutely bizarre cult of personality around the fucking founding fathers. I mean, so yeah, where's
Like,
yeah, and he claimed that there was nobody, you didn't get George Washington thought pushed on you in schools in the U.S. It's like, bullshit, I did. I got tons of that bullshit pushed on me.
Racism kind of is a little bit sus to me. It's a little bit sus.
Being racist, that's not the point there, but I think that having that kind of super vitriolic statement could perhaps fan the flames. I think maybe when talking about people in marginalized positions, you could perhaps just stick to the facts and to the ideas more instead of bringing up the personal vitriol.
Oh, but he can't deal with the facts.
Vitriolic remarks like that, calling them stupid, using ableist slurs and that sort of thing. I think that might be one way you could kind of control some of that. Do you like completely...
God, he's being way nicer than Foch deserves.
Disown and deny.
I think most governments brainwash, though, right? Yes. Absolutely. Even America does this.
Well, Foch denied that.
To a startling degree. I mean, like, I've told you guys stories about like having to stand for the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance and whatnot. And
Yeah, the stuff that Foch actually says doesn't happen in the U.S. Well, he didn't specifically say that, but he acted like there was something unique about, or unusual compared to the U.S., about Vietnam having students in schools read the theoretical works of Ho Chi Minh. Like we don't have to read the fucking Federalist Papers and shit in school here.
school, and like you could literally get sent to the office for refusing if you had like a shitty enough teacher. But like, at least that's how I grew up in the South. But like, I don't think you guys realize just how fucking nuts it is in Vietnam with that.
Yeah, I don't think you have any idea. What the fuck do you know about Vietnam? Do you even speak Vietnamese?
And don't get me wrong, there is Vosh never called her that. He called the Vietnamese government that. A clip will come up later showing that. Oh, well, Robin Page, thank you for giving us a little bit more context. An even more unfounded claim from EJ then. Yeah, I don't like the idea of sort of essentializing criticism of the nation, the government of a nation someone comes from, and, like, attacking their race, right? Because that more or less precludes anybody from a country that has a majority of a certain, like, ethnic population, right? Like...
Okay, this is... Did anyone follow that? I actually... When I was, like... I think it was, like, 8 or so. Which is around the time I found out, not in school, actually, I think from my mother, as it happens, about, separation of church and state, and what a useful thing it was, being Jewish in this fucked up Christian country. And I immediately started to think that there was something a bit odd about having this under God shit in the pledge, and I started just lip-syncing that. And then I started to read, and then when I was like 9 or 10, I started reading a whole lot about the Holocaust, and one of the things I read was that one of the reasons that the Nazis didn't like Jehovah's Witnesses is they refused to stand for the pledge. And it's like, oh, so this is something we have in common with the fucking Hitler? And that was the end of my ever uttering those words again. And then at one point my school guidance counselor came to me when I was like 16 or so, 15, 16, something like that, and invited me to lead the pledge at a school board meeting. This was supposed to be some big honor. And it was like, okay, this is awkward. And so I'm like, can I think about it a bit? And because it's like, how do you walk back from that? And I finally said, for the sake of free speech, how about I just read a short essay on why I'm not comfortable doing that? And he's like, yeah, no. But, I mean, there's part of me that kind of wishes I would have just done that anyway. Just said, yeah, I'll say the fucking pledge, and then just read a thing about, no, I'm not going to say your fucking fascist-ass pledge. That would have that might have been fun. I think I probably, fuck knows what would have happened, but it would have been interesting.
I mean, how many non-POC people who live in Vietnam that shill for the Vietnam government, other than EJ, are there that aren't white, or that are white, Like, I don't know. Yeah. You would never have this issue with, like, America, though, right? Like, if I was criticizing...
So the idea is that pointing out things that are positive about what goes on in Vietnam is automatically shilling. So
Canadian, and if I criticize, like, a Canadian liberal for defending the Canadian government, I'd probably never get shit for it.
Well, yes, because there isn't some huge fucking imperialist propaganda campaign against Canada. In fact, imperialism's kind of happy with Canada. There isn't a whole lot of reactionary bullshit attacking Canada, and because it's a mostly English-speaking country, it's relatively easy for people in the U.S. to find out about stuff that goes on there. Whereas most people in the U.S. do not understand Vietnamese, could not read the Vietnamese press, couldn't understand the Vietnamese media, and so they're basically left with for the most part, I mean, like, literal official U.S. government propaganda operations like so-called Radio Free Asia. And so, yeah, pointing out, providing some context and fact-checking some of those claims, and providing a perspective from somebody who actually fucking lives there is a kind of useful thing, and that is not automatically shilling. I would say, I wouldn't call it shilling unless you have some specific examples of her saying something that she absolutely had to know was false. In fact, she's actually been, in many ways, rather critical of the Vietnamese government. There are things I disagree with her on, but there's nothing I've ever seen in her stuff on Vietnam that I would actually say that struck me as the slightest bit dodgy. And he's not coming up with any examples.
But if I criticize a Vietnamese woman for simping for the Vietnamese government, well, now it's a racial thing. Because we're talking about somebody who's from a nation that their majority of the population is non-white, right? And we're pretty woke here on the left.
Now it's the people who have made racial...
Well, there is a very hardline right-wing segment of the Vietnamese American community, and they absolutely detest her. I mean...
Comments about Luna since you made your stream about her?
Oh, anyone who makes racist comments towards Luna...
I'm sorry,
is either not a
Actual
part
T.
of my
Justin
community,
Trudeau
or
is
if
a
they are, should be
fucking
removed
joke.
from it. I'm not a racist, and I don't tolerate racism on any of my platforms.
I didn't know he was going to be funny on this.
If it really is, like, hate followers...
I could shove Justin Trudeau in a locker, I feel like. I feel like I could probably shove Justin Trudeau in a locker.
Okay, I would kind of be there for that, as long as there's somebody to shove him in the locker with him.
High school me could have definitely shoved high school Justin Trudeau into a locker, okay? How tall is he? He doesn't look all that, like, tough, and he doesn't look like he has much constitution, okay? I'm not disagreeing, but leave me out of this. Let's make sure you don't get a knock on your door.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Vosh is racist as fuck. I mean, it's shocking to me. Because, I mean, I've seen plenty of racism in left spaces. But it's often much more unreflected, much more sort of people, and often much more camouflage. You know, it's people talking about identity politics in a way that makes it clear that what they mean is any concerns that are not exclusively the domain of rich, straight white people. Or some shit like that. You know, there's a sort of racism you see a lot on the left, and then there's this shit, which is just straight up, you could say this on Fox News, and nobody would you'd not get any kind of pushback for it. Tucker Carlson would love to have, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Yeah. I think my nieces could probably fuck him up too. A little prepubescent Nazi fuck.
Who are watching or simply responding to an increase in visibility, though. Nothing I say will change anything. I mean, I could have a positive interaction. In fact, I know this because I have had positive engagements with people, marginalized people, either race, gender, sexuality, who then got...
You mean there have been times you have managed to get through an engagement with marginalized people without lying about them?
Harassment after talking with me, not just from the rest of the left for deigning to talk with me, of course, but just as a product of being made
boxer,
visible,
dude?
you know. So if that is
jiu-jitsu.
the group responsible predominantly for the real vitriol, I don't think there's anything I could do other than be silent.
Somniostatic, I sort of watched Damon Mama's coverage of this debate, but for one, it was covered entirely in GIFs, and I had the debate muted. I had the stream muted, and was just like, I was talking in Discord to somebody with the stream open on the website, with the stream muted, just looking at all the crazy GIFs, and,
Welcome to
you know,
capitalism, my dude.
Okay, and with that, it is after 1, and other people are trying to sleep around here, so that is where we're going to call it a night for tonight. Thank you to everybody who showed up. I will be back tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern Time. Yeah, I mean, you need more lockers, really. Until 1 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow evening. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming.